is when we go on missions and we're not prepared to go on that mission. Moses didn't even know that he was prepared to go on that mission. But when God told him, I want you to go down in Israel. There's a man down there by the name of Pharaoh. And he said, that man down there, I want you to tell him, you need to let my people go. You know, Moses then, he started thinking about it. He started scratching his head and coming up with excuses. He said, Lord, I can't hardly talk. I imagine he was like me, halfway tied tongue or something. But he said, Lord, I don't know what to say when I get down there. He said, those people won't listen to me. He said, if I go down there, those people will run me out of town because they don't know what I'm coming from. He said, well, I want you to tell them and tell Pharaoh, I want him to let my people go. And he said, don't worry about going, I'll be with you. You know, when you go somewhere and you think you're by yourself, all you got to do is pray and God is right there beside you. I said, all you got to do, church, is just pray, and he's beside you. He's in front of you, he's behind you. In other words, he'll build a fence all around. So you say, God asked him, he said, you see this rod? He asked him, said, what is that in your hand? Moses said, it's a rod. He said, okay, it's a rod. He said, what I want you to do, he said, I want you to put that rod in your bosom. So Moses took that rod and he put it in his bosom. When he put it in his bosom, it came out white as snow. In other words, the rod had turned to leprosy. He told him, so now what I want you to do, I want you to put that same rod back in your bosom. He put that rod back in his bosom and he pulled it out again. The rod became living flesh. Now I'm going to tell you, God can always take a miracle and work with it. He turned a weak man into a strong man. So Moses went on down. He went on down to Egypt. He told Pharaoh what God said. But you know how it is when you're living in your comfort zone. How can you let people go that every morning they get up and they fix your breakfast? They go out in your fields and they take and they reap your crops out of the field. How can you let people go that every time it get hot, you got fan you? It's hard when you're in your comfort zone. So Pharaoh decided, I can't let these people go. Who gonna cook my meal? Who gonna see to my field? I cannot let them go. But God always got a way of making sure if you're hard-headed, he'll soften your head. So what he did, he took and he said, what I'm going to do, first thing I'm going to take the rivers and the lakes and the ponds, and I'm going to turn them to blood. So when they went out to get water out of the lakes, the rivers, and the ponds, all of them had turned red. So they didn't have any way to drink of the lakes and the ponds. So he said, I tell you what, I'm going to let your people go. But then as soon as Moses go back to tell God the answer, God already knows the answer. But they already know what Pharaoh was going to do again. So as soon as he left, Pharaoh started thinking about this thing again. He said, I can't let these people go. It is impossible for me to let these people go. Because if I let them go, I'm not going to be able to get no work down here. So he went on around and he told his soldiers to go back out and gather them again. But one thing about it, when God got a plan for you, ain't nothing the devil can do. See, the devil had already got it over there. And he had got him in a bad way. So God sent the insects. He sent the insects into the land of Egypt. And he told them, he said, don't worry about old man Pharaoh. Old man Pharaoh is in my hand. In other words, I'm going to put old man Pharaoh under my feet. He sent the insects into Egypt. And you know what the insects done? They started eating all of the crops. Now you got to have something to eat. But when you got millions of insects eating up everything, it ain't going to be nothing left for you. So the insects went in and they began to eat every little thing. And all of a sudden, man, Pharaoh had to change of heart. all of a sudden he want to talk to Moses and Aaron and all of them again. Yeah. He said, I tell you what, gather all your people and get out the land of Egypt. Yeah. So he gathered Moses, gathered all the people, and it's on his way out of Egypt. But on his way one more time, old man Pharaoh was hard in his heart. He decided that it was too much to be done in Egypt for to let all of these people and all of these slaves just walk away. So one more time, he decided that he was going to change his mind. But this time, he had got on God's last nerve, let's call it. He had really made God mad. And I'm going to tell you, an angry God ain't nothing to play with. I said, an angry God ain't nothing to play with. So he told him, said, what I want you to do, I want you to get a brush. I want you to go to all of the houses. And he said, when I mark an X on the door, that means I'm going to bypass that house. He said, but all the other houses, the firstborn in that house has got to die. He said, all over Egypt, every firstborn has got to leave him. He said, not only the firstborn humans. He said, but the firstborn cattle and animals, everything got to leave. So midnight came, and when midnight came, they called the death angels. Those death angels started riding. And when they got through riding, everybody, the firstborn in every house in Egypt was there. Don't you see, God really mad at old man Pharaoh. Don't let God get mad at you. If he do, you in bad shape. I said, just whatever you do, every time you know you done something wrong, you need to immediately go down and ask God to forgive you. You need to pray until he give you an answer back. So once again, old man Pharaoh let the children win. The children now, they had confidence in themselves because they saw how afraid the Egyptian people were. They saw, so they took some of their gold. You know how it is when you got people backed up against the wall. The Israelite children saw that they had Egyptians backed up against the wall. So when they left, they didn't leave by themselves. I said they took gold, they took silver and everything. But on their way up the road, one more time, old man Pharaoh got mad. Old man Pharaoh had been beat down, but he wasn't completely down and out. What I'm saying, God has stepped on his head, but he hasn't stepped on his head hard enough. When God steps on your head hard enough, you gonna know what? Ain't nobody got to tell you. You gonna know that he's stepping on your head. So he went down and sent the army and the chariots to go and bring all the Israelite children back into Egypt. But one thing about it, on his way, God told Moses, I want you to stretch out the rod one more time. So he stretched out the rod, and the Red Sea, they tell me, parted on the left, and it parted on the right. Can't you see God working miracles like this? Can't you see God getting ready to let his children out of slavery? And Pharaoh's army went in the midst of it. They went in the midst of the Red Sea. And one more time, Moses stretched out the rod. When he stretched out the rod this time, the sea came back together. And all of Moses, all of the Egyptian children were drowned. They tell me that the whole army perished in a matter of minutes. Now I ain't got to stop there. I want to talk a little bit about David. I need to talk a little bit about David. You see, David, you know, it's good, always good, when you let Jesus direct your path. I said, if you ain't got nothing to worry about, if Jesus direct your path. And one thing about David, when he was a young man, he let God direct everything he done. One day, by being out in the army, the field with the army of the Israelites, they were talking about this large, huge giant that had came along and was threatening to kill the whole army. Now they didn't know that David had also